Once upon a time, in the South, in a small southern town, young Jabari sat on the porch with his grandfather Solomon. Curious as always, Jabari asked, "Granddaddy, why is it so important to know our history?" Grandfather Solomon's eyes sparkled with wisdom. "Our history is like the roots of these old oak trees, strong and deep. They keep us standing tall. Let me take you on a journey through time. Long ago, before this land had been discovered, our people were already a part of God's story. Did you know that the Bible tells stories about people from Africa?" Jabari's eyes widened. "Really?" "Oh, yes. Moses grew up in Africa, in Egypt. And when he led his people to freedom, he trusted God completely, just like Harriet Tubman did when she guided our people to freedom through the Underground Railroad." Jabari imagined Moses walking through the Red Sea and Harriet Tubman leading people through dark woods under the North Star. They both walked the path of freedom with God leading the way. Grandfather Solomon's voice softened. "But there's more. Simon of Cyrene, an African man, helped carry Jesus' cross. God gave him the strength to help Jesus during his greatest trial." Jabari's eyes grew wide in awe. "An African man helped Jesus?" "Yes," Grandfather Solomon nodded. "It shows that God's plan has always included us." He continued, "And then there was an Ethiopian eunuch, an African man who was reading Isaiah when Philip taught him about Jesus. He believed and was baptized right there on the road. He became one of the first African Christians." Jabari's face lit up. "So Africans were among the first to follow Jesus?" "Yes, Jabari. From the very beginning, we were a part of God's story." During slavery, our ancestors sang songs to help keep hope alive. They sang spirituals like "Go Down Moses" and "Swing Low, Sweet Chariot."
Let my people go when Israel was in Egypt's land.
Jabari's heart felt full. "Did these songs come from the Bible?" Jabari's grandfather Solomon said, "Yes. They sang about Moses and the Israelites because they knew God freed his people before and he would do it again. Just as God sent leaders like Moses and Harriet Tubman, he sent pioneers like William Foy and Charles Bowles. They were both some of the first African American preachers who shared the Adventist message of Jesus' return." Jabari's eyes sparkled. "Were they like prophets in the Bible?" "Yes, indeed. God used them to bring hope during hard times, just like he used Isaiah and Jeremiah." "And then there was Charles Kinny," Grandfather Solomon continued. "He was the first African American ordained as a Seventh-day Adventist minister. He started the first Black Adventist church in Tennessee, giving our people a place to worship freely and learn about God." Jabari imagined Charles Kinny standing tall at the pulpit, speaking words of hope and faith. His face brightened, "And because of our faith, we built schools where our children could learn and grow." Oakwood University was created to educate the children of freed slaves. It grew into a place of wisdom and leadership. Jabari's eyes sparkled. "Mommy went there." "That's right. And great people studied and taught there, like Eva B, one of the first Black women to earn a PhD, who inspired generations to pursue education and faith." Jabari's eyes were full of admiration. "She showed women can do anything." "Yes," Grandfather Solomon agreed. "And Anna Knight was the first African American female missionary for the Adventist Church. She taught children in India, sharing God's love across cultures. You carry their legacy in your heart." Grandfather Solomon's face grew serious. "And then there was E. Cleveland. He was one of the greatest preachers in Adventist history. He preached to thousands and baptized more than 15,000 people, giving hope to everyone who heard him. Jabari leaned forward, inspired. I want to speak just like him one day. E.E. Cleveland was bold and faithful. He used his voice to change lives just like God can use yours. Grandfather Solomon placed his hand on Jabari's shoulder. You see, Jabari, our story is full of leaders, teachers, preachers, and healers, from Moses to Martin Luther King Jr., from Simon of Cyrene to Ethiopian Eunuch, from Charles Kinny to Eva B. Dykes, from William Foy to E.E. Cleveland, from Anna Knight to the Freedom Singers. Our roots run deep. Jabari looked up at the old oak tree, its branches reaching toward the sky. Our history is like this tree, isn't it? Yes, my boy, deep roots, strong branches, and hope reaching towards heaven. Jabari stood up, his heart full. I want to grow strong and tell these stories too. Grandfather Solomon smiled proudly. And you will, because the story lives on in you. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in gold and purple hues, Jabari felt his roots grow deeper, his spirit grow stronger, and his faith reach toward the heavens. He knew who he was, and he knew whose he was. A child of kings and queens, a child of faith, a child of God.